All right, open that book. Let's go. It's time for next chapter, planning your retirement story here with Steven Sabo, financial advisor at Executive Financial Group, serving the greater Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, specifically in Butler, PA. Get in touch with Steven and the team, executivefinancialgroup.com. Dial them up, 724-283-2806. Schedule that first, just complimentary appointment to get in the office there. Just have a look at your whole retirement plan, a holistic approach, if you will. And remember, you can also get in touch with them through Facebook. Steven's favorite social media is Facebook. He loves that, okay? No, but and also these shows in audio form are on YouTube, too. So all sorts of ways, Steven, to get in touch with you and your family and the whole team there. And before we get into any more, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well, Doug. It's a beautiful afternoon today. It's 75 and pretty sunny out, so I can't complain at all.
I love that. Yeah, May is upon us. By the time you all are hearing this, it'll be a little bit later in the month here, more than likely, or maybe even into June. So what are, I don't know if I've asked you before, what are summers like in Pennsylvania, all right? Because we hear like in the Midwest, as cold as it is in the winter, my gosh, in the summer, it's nuts. Is it a little more moderate in PA?
It comes and goes in waves. It's one of those things. PA, it seems to have the craziest weather. We have pretty nice summers, but it can get pretty hot and pretty humid here. So last year, for instance, it seemed like my grass was dead at middle of June because it was just, 80, 90 degrees all day, every day, no rain. We had nothing. But right now, we're seeing rain for the next week. So, it's just kind of, it's on and off here in PA, but it does get warm. It gets humid. And if we don't have any rain, then it gets pretty crispy.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And look, the same here can happen in the South. We get humid in Atlanta. All right. And we've had a lot of rain lately too. I love hot, humid weather. That is my jam. I get a feeling you're more of a not cold, but cool weather guy because you like mountains and camping and stuff.
Yeah. You know what? I don't mind the hot weather. I do like it. But sometimes whenever it gets pretty muggy out, it feels like it's like hard to breathe or something. So that's tough to me. But
we are on the next chapter, Planning Your Retirement Story podcast, folks. Hot take. We are pro breathing.
That's right.
Pro breathing. Okay.
That's right.
Note that down. Just like Stephen A. Smith, quite frankly, we are pro breathing. All right. So yes, there you go. All right. Look, last couple episodes, we talked about analysis paralysis. You had so many options there. You just throw your hands up, choose the same outfit every day. That's what the story was about anyway. And we relate that to retirement. And we also talk about 2 retirement obstacles that people can underestimate. All right. 2 costs in retirement, basically, that people can underestimate. Check out those past episodes on the media tab at executivefinancialgroup.com and also in Apple and Spotify and some of the other podcatchers. And hey, if there's something you like from those shows or the one we get into today, be sure and flip that link over to somebody you know, all right? Don't keep all that good news or that stuff you like to yourself, okay? I share articles. Say I'm on social media, Steve. I share articles I like on there, all right?
You know what?
Same with shows too, all right? But actually, I'm not saying this to promote it, but this is where this came from, all right? So I host a NASCAR mainly or a racing podcast called the 5 to Go podcast. And recently, because of that, get opportunities to interview drivers. I also cover NASCAR races on the radio on Performance Racing Network. So I got to talk in person to NASCAR driver Erik Jones, who I saw race as a teenager here in Georgia and came into NASCAR. I mean, he literally won his first Truck Series race, kind of like NASCAR's AA division at 16 years old. Now he's just made his 300th Cup start in these last few weeks back at Texas Motor Speedway. I talked to him about it on pit road, and then we had a phone call later in the week about it. And here's what Erik Jones said, because to me, that time just flew by. Listen to this.
Yeah, I mean, 300 went by fast, so I'm sure it's not going to go any slower for the next 300, that's for sure.
Yeah, so and if there's one thing he's learning at only 29 years old, it's that it's only going to speed up, right? It comes quickly. So right now we're dealing with, and Stephen, you could probably enunciate this better than me, but we're dealing with the silver wave. So many people are turning 65. It's thousands per day are in retirement or so forth. They're qualifying for Medicare as the boomer generation and soon Gen X are going to be hitting retirement. Erik Jones is probably not even thinking about retirement, but he knows those next 300 starts. A lot of people don't make it to 600 starts in the NASCAR Cup Series, and here he is already halfway to that mark. So how do you help people tackle this idea of retirement coming at you like really fast? When should they start preparing? is it too late to ever start preparing?
Yeah, that's a great question, Doug. We tell people you should start yesterday, and no, it's never too late to start preparing for retirement. And the reason that we say that is because, again, you don't want to go into it and just not do anything at all. You still want to have a plan and say, hey, even if I was later than I would have liked to have been, or what my peers have been, or anything like that, there's still a good time for you to be able to do it. And I think one of the biggest things that people get hung up on is I haven't done anything in the past, and I don't know that I can put all this money towards it to try and catch up. And, the one thing that I explain to people all the time is you don't have to, if you're afraid or you say, I just don't have all this money to put towards it, that's okay. We want you to start somewhere. Let's come up with a plan to start anywhere, even if it's a smaller amount that you're putting away each week or month or however you want to put it away. But, it's never a bad time to start doing it. And, we really encourage people to start as soon as possible. Not too long ago, I have a buddy of mine teaches economics in high school, and they were teaching finance related topics. And he said, would you mind coming in and speaking to my economics classes? They're seniors. And, I just think that that's important. And that's one of the biggest things that I stressed to those seniors in high school is start now, start as early as you possibly can. And you won't have to worry about making it up down the road or anything like that. And it doesn't have to be a lot for them. I said, if it's $50 a month, if it's $100 a month, you have a little bit of extra money from your summer job or, whatever it is, start just doing a little bit. And, that's the same thing that we tell our clients right now is just start. Let's come up with a plan. Let's talk about it. It's not as scary as you think, but you need to start on something or else, you will be behind. And I'm not a magician. I can't just poof, make it appear out of nowhere. You have to do something. And so, we really encourage people, don't be afraid. Let's get something going and let's formulate a plan and execute it.
Well, for sure. You got to start somewhere. By the way, when I've gotten to speak at career days or speak to classes or people touring the kids touring the old radio station that I used to work at, and I say old like it's some podunk place, the former radio station I used to work at, that I would give them 3 tips. Okay. Basically go to college, let someone mentor you, someone that's a good influence mentor you. But lastly is start early. And I would say to prepare, if you want to have a career in media, hey, start by just raising your hand in class or volunteering to be the first one to read your book report, right?
That's right.
You can start early and build those building blocks now, learning how to write. So when you finally get to the level when you're in college, people that have kind of been a hermit all this time and are just like specializing, you already have public speaking and writing skills, and you can jump right in. And I think it's the same thing here with your finances. So if somebody is hearing this and they're like, okay, I really haven't begun planning at all. Maybe I got some money stashed away. Maybe I don't. But say they're like 45 years old, where you still think, I'm 20 years away from retiring. But if you're 45, think about how long ago 25 seems to you.
That's right.
And a lot of people, it's not that long, and time generally only speeds up and perceptually as you get older. And what's that first conversation like? If they got in touch with you to help get a plan started, what do you walk them through?
Yeah, we walk them through a whole lot of things. One of the first things we want to find out is how much can you afford to put away right now? Let's take a look at your budget. Let's look at all these things and let's see how much disposable income you have at the end of the month after everything is gone, to see how much can you afford to put away and what are you comfortable putting away right now. Again, back to everybody thinks, oh my gosh, I can't put away this much money. Well, you don't necessarily have to start with a lower amount, get used to it, and then let's increase it every single year or every 6 months or whatever it is. And you just start to living in that zone where you're, okay, it's already out of here. I'm not missing it. And you get comfortable doing that. And then we say, all right, next year, we're going to bump it up a little bit. Every time you get a bonus, why don't we immediately shift some of that away? I told the kids in the high school class, I said, pay yourself first. Yes, you have to pay your bills. You have to do all those things, but pay yourself first. If you have this much left over from your paychecks, immediately take a portion of that and set it aside. Know that that's going towards retirement or saving, whatever it is that you're trying to save for, and put it away. If not, you're going to spend it. I mean, that's human nature. It's a psychological thing. If it's in your pocket, if it's in your bank account and you don't have a plan for it, man, that pair of shoes looks pretty cool. Whatever it is, I want to do this. I want to spend the money, and you will. We see it. Even people that make a whole lot of money, their expenses are more than people that make a lesser amount of money. And so it's easy to spend it. It's easy to, not allocate it towards the things that you should be. And so we want to make sure that you're doing that. And at the end of the day, it's your life, but I'm not a magician. And so, we want to help you, but you have to start somewhere. And we're going to come up with a plan for you. And we're going to say, hey, let's not overcomplicate things. Let's not make it too hard for you. But we do want to start on something and start working towards a goal.
And if you're inside retirement or kind of near that retirement scoring position, if you will, to put it in baseball terms, right? And you're thinking about the 20, 30 years you hope you're going to live. Of course, that's never guaranteed.
Yeah.
You also need to be thinking about legacy planning before the finish line. So we keep talking here, okay, 30, 40 years old or 18-year-olds or 60-year-olds, how do you get ready for the moment that regular paycheck isn't coming in? And you do that. And I'm reading your pillars right now from executivefinancialgroup.com. Tailored financial planning to match your lifestyle. There's one. Okay, yes. Smart investment strategies for income you can't outlive. That could be income growing or ways that pay you through the rest of your life. What about after you're gone? Legacy planning.
Yeah.
And just our last minute or two here, Stephen, can you explain the importance of having that in order? Because you may have an idea of when you're going to retire, though some people retire earlier than they expect.
Sure.
You have no idea when you're going to die.
Absolutely. And we're dealing with that right now. Unfortunately, we had a few clients that passed away, but we've taken care of a lot of it up front. And it's very important because at the end of the day, if you don't set yourself up with a plan for what's going to happen after you're gone, you can lose a lot of whatever you have left to taxes and attorney's fees. Those are two things that we don't want to see. I mean, if you want to pay the local attorneys and you want to give all your money to Uncle Sam and you don't want to leave any to your heirs, that's fine. Hey, we're not saying that you shouldn't, but I'm just saying with a good, proper plan in place, you don't have to worry about those things because you've done all the steps up front that are going to be costly for an attorney to do for you normally. You have to go to, there's certain things that they have to do, right? They've got to file things in a courthouse. They need to do all these things. So there is going to be some fees, but you can lessen that. When you talk about probate and doing all that, I mean, it can really start to add up. And if you have a significant amount of money, it might be a couple $100,000 right off the top that isn't going to go to your heirs. And so with just a small amount of planning, you can avoid a lot of that. You can avoid some of the taxes that are due on things to set up your heirs to receive money in a certain way that isn't taxable or is spread over amount of time, so we really just try and take those into consideration. And that's something, we're always pressing our clients. Maybe we don't need to do it right this instant, but we should really start thinking about these things. It's tough for clients. Not all families are the same. And some people have a hard time doing that stuff, but we really try and get them to focus and say, hey, we need to think about this now or else it's going to cost your heirs down the road. And we don't want to see that for you.
Well, that we absolutely do not. And so the way people can get going with this, Stephen, if they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Yeah, give us a call. Our office number is 724-283-2806. You can shoot me an email at steven@executivefinancialgroup.com. Heck, you can go to our website at executivefinancialgroup.com and check us out. You can even message us straight from there and get on our calendar. So, please give us a ring. Let us know what's going on. Listen to our podcast. Even if you don't want to call us right away, listen to the episodes. You might pick up some of these, little tidbits here and there that say, you know what? And maybe it'll spark you down the road to give us a call or set up an appointment and come in and see us.
Keeps reminding me that I've got some work to do. So again, 724-283-2806, folks. Give that number a call. Go to executivefinancialgroup.com or, hey, even the email address. I mean, he's giving his actual email address out, the one that I set up this show with him on, okay, when we talk about recording. And that's is Stephen with a V, at executivefinancialgroup.com. Well, Stephen, thank you for making the time today. I know you've been busy trying to fit this into your schedule, and there's much more planning and such to do today, but now you're helping people get that seed planted that they need to do some planning too.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, thank you, Doug. No, thank you for everything, and always thank you for your time with this. You're a great host.
No, it's a lot of fun. I appreciate that. You're a great host, sir. And thank you so much to our new producer now, Rob Scott, as Daniel's gone to produce some other things in our building over here on our end. Rob Scott, who has a ton of experience. He's on the one ones and twos getting this thing published and put out in the show, and we thank him for taking this on too. We thank all of you for listening here, and remember, you can find this on Apple and Spotify and under the media or podcast page at executivefinancialgroup.com. Just go down there, and if you know someone in your circle that needs to hear this, go ahead and send them the link. He is Stephen Sabo, financial advisor at Executive Financial Group. We thank Stephen for his time and all of you. I'm Doug Turnbull, and we'll talk to you soon here on Next Chapter, Planning Your Retirement Story.
Thanks a lot, Doug.
The opinions expressed by Stephen Sabo and guests on this podcast are their own and do not reflect the opinions of this podcast station. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Past performance cannot be used as an indicator to determine future results. Any strategies mentioned may not be suitable for everyone. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for you. Before acting on any information mentioned, please consult with a qualified tax or investment advisor to determine if it is suitable for your specific situation. This program is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information with regard to subject covered. Investment advisory services offered through Virtue Capital Management, LLC, VCM, a registered investment advisor. VCM and Executive Financial Group are independent of each other. Pennsylvania Insurance License number 670429. Any guarantees mentioned are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and may be subject to caps, restrictions, fees, and surrender charges as described in the annuity contract. Stephen Sabo and/or Executive Financial Group are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.